And a pleasant good morning to you and yours, and welcome to the Brevard Sports Network. We are here live this morning at a quiet Ubrzati. I don't think I've ever been in Ubrzati when you can hear a pin drop. But today, the student athletes are obviously in school at the moment, and so the workouts take place afterwards. Welcome back. We didn't get a chance to get off last week, but please help me welcome my special guest this week, and we're going to talk about why Mr. Mike Moffitt is here and all that good stuff coming up. But all of you, and I mean all of you out there, know this man. He is Mr. Mike Moffitt from Scott Sporting Goods. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Good morning. How are you?
Good to have you here, Mike. Thank you, Caleb. You had week one of the high school football season last week. I don't even want to talk about the scores or anything. I want to talk to you about what you do, because first of all, tell everybody exactly what it is you do, because to me, a lot of athletics around this county wouldn't run without Mike Moffitt or Scott Sporting Goods.
Basically, what I do is the schools that I work with, obviously uniforms, equipment, shoulder pads, volleyballs, basketballs, track spikes, you name it. If they need it, we get it for them. We work with all the sports, from swimming to golf to tennis to whatever. It's just been really, really tough this last year of getting product because of shortages everywhere. Last year, Wilson canceled 100,000 cases of Wilson tennis balls. Nobody could get tennis balls last year. People were scrambling, and they were having to go online and buy them double the price that we were selling them for, but we couldn't get them. And we buy direct from Wilson, and they canceled 100,000 cases last year.
What were you telling me about the helmets this year? Because I know there are a lot of schools running into this issue.
The helmets this year, there's only 14 companies in the United States that recertify helmets. Schutt and Rydell are the two bigs. We work with Schutt. Those are done in Mexico, unfortunately, where you can get the best pricing. But what happens is they go down to Fort Worth, they set there on a truck, and it may take a month to cross over. That's why a lot of the schools this year did not get their helmets recertified, because they just couldn't get them. And the parts and pieces shortage. What's happening is most of the hardware comes out of China, unfortunately. And there's a resin shortage.
You don't say.
The resin shortage is really the culprit on everything. Shoulder pads, football helmets, footballs, knee pads, mouthpieces, everything is resin-based, and there's a major resin shortage in the country, and that's what's holding everybody up. Nobody will even take an order for a helmet until October 5th. They've been shut down since February 1st. We got emails saying no orders until October 5th on helmets and shoulder pads. And I ordered helmets and shoulder pads for some of the schools on December 18th. Some of them are just now coming in. All my high school helmets came in, but my youth helmets and shoulder pads are still pending. Just haven't got here.
The thing I love about your job is the stories that just in the 3 years that I've got to know you, that you've been able to tell me. If you could stop time, Mike, because how long have you been doing this?
31 years.
Okay. If you could stop time, Mike Moffitt, and go back in time. Now, I know, I'll talk to a football coach. I'll text him. I'll say, hey, can I text you back? I'm sitting here talking to Mike Moffitt from Scott Sporting Goods. Or you'll tell me, hey, can I text you back? If you could stop time and go back in time, who are a couple of the coaches that you would go back into their offices and just love to sit down and talk with again and again and again?
Well, at football, if you're going back to football, I would say Mike Riazzi, who coached at MCC forever.
Coach Riazzi.
One of my best friends. I've been turkey hunting with him. He's trying to get me to
See
come
a good
out
shot?
He gets scope nose every now and then.
I got you.
But anyways, he's a good guy. I've taken him up to North Carolina, him and his wife up to my brother's property hunting up there, and he's trying to get me to go out there where he's at now. I think he's in it's Tennessee. And they go hunting out there, but it's having that chance. But the guy, I love spending time in his office. I mean, he's just a phenomenal. But if you go back to baseball or athletic director, it has to be Charlie Shack and Brad Lloyd.
Gotcha.
Brad coached 15 years at Palm Bay High School. I know they just inducted Charlie Shack into the Coaches Hall of Fame at Palm Bay High.
How great was that?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I think it was as well deserved. But I think Brad Lloyd should be the next guy to go in there.
Gotcha.
He coached 15 years, and God only knows how many years he was the athletic director. But I would sit in his office for hours on hours, and we would just reminisce and talk. And he'd tell me how he got kicked out of a baseball game. He had no money. He had no dip. And he's whispering through the fence for trying to get money from his third base coach to go get him some dip at the store because he'd been kicked out of the game. But the guy was awesome. And him and Carl Hanselman, the pitching coach there that graduated from Merritt Island and played for the Pirates. He got drafted by the Pirates. But I would spend hours in Brad's office at Palm Bay High School and I still think about it to this day.
And just laughing.
And he is he's like a mentor to me. And I mean, we could really get into some deep conversations about life in general and things that are going on and coaches that you could get along with or you can't get along with.
Right.
I try to get along with everybody. I don't go into a school and try to be smarter than the coach.
Right.
I don't want to turn him completely in a 360 of what his idea is, what he wants.
You
can't do that.
Well, first of all, Mike, you could. Second of all, I love, I can't tell you how many times that I've listened to you on a broadcast and been like, you know what, Mike Moffitt's got it again. Damn, I got to fix that. But you are a plethora of sports knowledge and local sports knowledge, and I have the absolute utmost respect for what you do. And I can't imagine, I have a very good friend who's in the furniture business, and she tells me just how tough it is to even get furniture. I can't imagine what your job must be like right now with the shipping delays.
It's basically polos, t-shirts, hooded sweatshirts, warm-ups. You pretty much name it. Cleats. You can't even go into Dick's Sporting Goods right now and walk out with a pair of cleats of any kind. You have to order them. They only have a sample. A buddy of mine went in the other day with his kid, and he wanted to try on a pair of cleats. They fit him, so he grabbed the box, started walking out. The lady chased him across the store and said, "You have to bring those back. You have to order them. We don't have cleats." We ordered 500 pair last year from Adidas. We ended up getting 72 pair in.
72 out of 500. Not a bad percentage if you're
sold in one day.
Not a bad percentage if you're playing baseball and you're batting, right? But not good
Not for
to put football cleats on kids' feet. We're here with Mike Moffitt, and you are watching the Ubrzati High School football preview show. All right, Mike, let's just take a glance back at week one. You mentioned the ceremony at Palm Bay. I think last week your big winners were O'Galley, Palm Bay, and I want to start off and congratulating because a lot of people sent me messages that saying I really didn't show any love this week to Hurley Brown. So I want to congratulate Coach Hurley Brown and Holy Trinity because they didn't play a kickoff classic.
Right.
Hosted Orangewood Christian last week, got a big 29-28 win. Now, they're going to play Bayside this week, and we'll talk about that, but they're going to play Bayside this week. But Hurley, a late jump into the program, lost a lot of kids to transfer. That's just Hurley being Hurley over there.
Yeah. I think he just got a transfer from Vero. A kid out of Miami came to Vero, wanted to be the starting quarterback at Vero, and Lenny worked him out and just said, "Listen, you're not going to be our starting quarterback."
Right.
So I heard the kid transferred to Holy Trinity. So I'm assuming he's at Holy Trinity now, but he's supposed to be a 6'4", whatever, gunslinger out of Miami. So hopefully Hurley got a good one.
Yeah, I think Holy Trinity. Look, and let's not forget they were a 10-2 football team last year. They got an outstanding kicker, and I think Holy Trinity can still win 6, 7, 8, maybe even 8 games this year in that. That metro, or I'm sorry, that suburb division or district that they play in. Palm Bay last week, Jake Owens and that Palm Bay, and Jake, let me publicly apologize to you. I keep calling Jake Mark Ainsley. Okay, and the reason for that is easy. When I first started covering Brevard County High School football, Jake was at Space Coast and Mark was was in his third year, I think, at Holy Trinity.
Correct.
And so, actually, he was in his first year. He was in his first year at Heritage.
Okay.
When I started covering Heritage, and I always got them confused. And so when I see Jake's face, I think Mark Ainsley. And it's funny because when I see Mark, I think Jake. I don't know why.
Mark's got a little more gray.
Yeah, that's for sure. But congratulations to Jake Owens and the Palm Bay Pirates. 3 defensive touchdowns last week. Daniel Man Harris, Markel Goins on the defensive side of the football. They are an unbelievably gifted, athletic, quick, big football team. And you know what? If you're looking for the team this year that's going to do what Merritt Island did last year, in other words, could surprise and be playing in December, it could be Palm Bay.
they got some dudes now. Their line is just massive. It reminds me of back in the day when you had Jeff Harper, 6'7", 300 pounds. Mike DeGore, 6'6", 300 pounds. The Emory kid, I think he was 6'4", 280. Their line averaged 305 pounds. They went down to Vero that year and gave Vero the worst beating in the history of their stadium down there.
Not
Bert
shocked.
Clark was quarterback, and who's now obviously the principal at Rockledge High School. He was the quarterback. They had Gerard Jackson, Kevin Fain, like I say, Emory. All those guys.
This is why I love Mike
college
Moffitt.
football. Those guys, I've known them since they were little kids playing youth football, but to watch them that year, and then when Palm Bay won their 2 state championships, I actually have 2 footballs. I'm going to probably give back to the school that they were mine, and I had the whole team signed. We went to the one when they won it at Gainesville. I pre-printed 100 T-shirts with state champions on them. Then everybody's going, well, what's if they lose? And we'll have a big bonfire.
Right.
So then when they went to Tallahassee, I embroidered 125 hats. And as soon as I think Dan Carter had an interception to seal the victory. It might have been, was it Tampa Jefferson, I think, when they played at Tallahassee? I don't remember.
Not the Dillard one. Was it Dillard?
Was first, and I think Jefferson was second.
Jefferson was second,
So
right?
anyways,
Tampa Jefferson,
as soon
that's
as he
right.
intercepted that pass, Buster Clark looked at me in the stand and said, come on down. I had a big bag of hats.
That's cool.
Well, going into the stadium, they were searching everybody because of the 9/11, and I said, well, it's just a bunch of hats. And he unzipped the bag, and he goes, wow, you're pretty confident. I said, well, this stage, there's nothing tomorrow. It's all
Right.
today. And everybody goes, well, what's if they lose? We're going to have another bonfire.
Right.
And they won 2 times. And so the next week, Bright House Sports was televising the game. And at the end of the game, they go, look at that. Palm Bay's already got, because they had the tags hanging off of them, Palm Bay's already got hats. So somebody's been sewing on the sideline.
Yes, because when you watch that on YouTube, you see that yes.
Dan Burke would have kicked my rear end if he knew it. He is probably the most superstitious coach I've ever been around in my life. Only the people that knew it was me, Rick Francis, who I ran into yesterday, I hadn't seen in 15 years, came to my office yesterday to see me, and Buster Clark. We were the only 3 that knew it.
That is a great story.
I took both my boys up there, and we had to buy Florida State rain jackets because it was raining.
Right.
And we ended up on the Jumbotron, and we're Miami Hurricane fans. So believe me, I got ragged for that.
Mitch Brown is, and Dan Burke may be listed, I think, as the defensive coordinator there. But listen, Mitch Brown is the guy. Dan's been. Dan will tell you himself that Mitch is the guy that runs that defense down there, and Mitch does a terrific job.
Well, Mitch played for Dan, so
It is on that defense is unbelievable.
I think Stewart's working with the quarterback.
Yes, he is. Yeah. They've really got something special, I think, down there this season. And Daniel Man Harris is just on a mission, smiling. I mean, you can't knock the smile off of that guy's face. There's no doubt about that. O'Galley. And what Chris Sands is doing there this year. Jude Tenor. And that's not to mention the sophomore Sandman Thompson, Baker Alvarez. I almost said Jared Baker. Can you believe that? Not Jared Baker. Robert Stafford, because he wears number 5. But O'Galley, a coach told me the other day that they are awfully impressed with what the Commodores are doing.
I'm looking at O'Galley last year of what I think Vieira is this year.
Right.
Last year, O'Galley was pretty young. They graduated a bunch of kids.
Right.
A lot of them went D1. And this year, they've grown up a year. So they've been in that system now for 2 years. And I think O'Galley could run the table from what I've seen. And Vieira, I think, is going to be okay. You inherited a team. Got a new coach. You inherit that team. And they're young. I think from the defensive line to the back corners, they're all freshmen and sophomores, I believe.
I said in a post this week that time is not of the essence for that program, but merely a step in the process.
Well, if you look at the schedule, Coach Smith did that schedule.
Yeah.
And Derek from the school of Dan Burke, he's going to play anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
When he was at Bayside, me and my boys used to go. We went to Lakeland with them. We went to Manatee with them. They played anybody, anytime, anywhere when Derek was coaching. And I think that with the young team, I think Shane would have set it up a little bit different.
Yeah.
But you got, Creekside's no joke.
Well, Derek had Coco on the schedule, and Shane got that changed.
Right,
yeah.
Right. But Creekside last weekend, they're
no joke.
McIntyre's doing a heck of a job up there.
Yes,
they
he
played
is.
some big boys up in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was pretty classy of him, jump out big on Vieira and then, kind of call the dogs off and everything. But he's a class act. And when he coached at Mile High, he was just a good guy. And he coached at Bayside as well. Did a great job at Bayside.
I did not know that.
He was with Derek at Bayside.
Okay.
Yeah. And, but even, Quentin Shorts down at combine.
Right.
He coached with Derek at
Yeah.
Bayside High School. So Derek and Kevin have really put some, and Coach Burke, they're all out of the school of Coach Burke.
Right.
I mean, every one of them seems like, he's just a legend. My son was lucky enough to play for Coach Burke, and Derek was his defensive coordinator. He played Mike linebacker at Palm Bay High.
Gotcha.
And Derek was his coach, and so we were blessed to have good coaching there.
O'Galley plays tonight, by the way. They are at Liberty. All right, so those are the big winners. And I want to say congratulations to Titusville, John Holmes, and Brian Helton at Satellite, who picked up career victory number 1. John Holmes is a coaching machine. He still coaches youth football at Rockledge. The man simply lives, breathes, eats, coaches football. And I tell you what, it would be a major mistake for a lot of teams on Titusville's schedule this year to go up to Titusville thinking that they're going to walk over that team this year, because they're going to get back on that bus, Mike, shaking their heads going, what just happened?
Oh, yeah. He's going to do a great job. And I've always been the person, and I used Kelly Darden, the bookkeeper at Palm Bay High School, young, enthusiastic coach. And I told her she was afraid we're going to have a JV team. And then she coached in soccer and swimming. I said, listen, you played the game. You played in college. You played I think she played at Lake Highland Prep, had great coaches over there. I said, you're a young, enthusiastic coach. You're all in. Believe me, you build it and they will come. She's having to cut people now.
That's that's a difficult position for a coach to be in, but when you're a program that's coming from that to this, you do kind of smile at night.
Oh yeah,
I
told her you build it and they will come. She's so ecstatic about the way everything is turned around at Palm Bay High. The numbers that she has for softball and for swimming and for soccer. They had to borrow 3 girls last year off the basketball team to finish the district tournament in soccer.
Wow!
Just to have now she's got a JV and a varsity team.
That's great.
And she's going to have to cut.
And that's a good bad position for a coach to be in. Week 2, also Sebastian River at Astronaut. I don't know much about Sebastian River this year. I know they've been down the last couple of years. I know the last time they had a decent season down there was when they had that defensive lineman that hit it off to Alabama.
Right.
Maybe a good opportunity for Justin Ward and Astronaut to pick up a win tomorrow night at Astronaut. Bayside at Holy Trinity. This will be a good one. I think these are 2 evenly matched teams. Coach Corey Broomfield and the Bayside Bears. They have a lot of speed on the outside. You got Michael Parks, the Iowa State commit out there. And, of course, is any alumni more loyal to their school than Corey Broomfield?
Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. He lives and breathes it 24/7.
Yeah.
Again, like you say, like Coach Holmes does up in Titusville. And I think that's why the kids have bought in or playing hard for him. I mean, his preseason work ethic is like nothing I've ever seen. I'm not kidding you. I've been out there, and you hear the big lineman guys, what we call the hogs, or the guys are grabbing them on the arms, helping them get back into the weight room because they just ran the mountain. They had that big mountain behind the school out there, almost like military, and they run up and down that thing at 6 o'clock in the morning in the off season. I'm not kidding you. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I love Coach Broomfield, and he's got another Brabham at quarterback, Caden Brabham, a righty. His brother Logan was a lefty. Bayside at Holy Trinity. Berean Christian at Cocoa Beach. Listen, still a work in progress at Cocoa Beach. Don't know much about Berean Christian, but I'll tell you what, I really like, if you look at the program at Cocoa Beach and how it's being built, it's baby steps, but I like it. I really like it.
Yeah. Ben's doing a great job out there. He actually called
Coach
me
Waldrop,
up. Need more shoulder pads for his JV team. They don't have enough. And they got a middle school program going out there.
You got to have numbers
he
first.
He is really building it. Now, he ain't got the massive, big, dudes out there.
Right.
But those kids are all in.
Right.
I mean, I've been to a couple of his practice delivering some stuff for him and seen it firsthand. And he's got a pretty good coaching staff around him. But he's another one that's working it 24/7. In the off season, he's making it fun for the kids. They're running on the beach, and doing some good stuff. But he's going to do a great job there.
The demise of Melbourne Bulldog football is greatly exaggerated on social media this week. Don't let the loss last week fool you. First of all, there are 3 things I want to discuss about what happened to Melbourne last week. They host Merritt Island this week. Merritt Island had a bye last week. Excuse me. So the first thing I want to discuss is Lake Mineola is no pushover. That's the first thing. The second thing is defensively, that football team had 5 turnovers in the game. They got a 4th down stop in the red zone and blocked the punt. So Melbourne is fine defensively. And the third thing is they lost to Merritt Island and Satellite to start the season last year. Melbourne did, before the offense began its flow. And then reeled off 10 straight all the way to a regional championship appearance. This is a very good football team. Hunter Turner's a very good quarterback. They have an outstanding group of wide receivers, Jalen Clark and company. Let's not forget about the running back that transferred in from Arizona, who's a 3 or 4 star, who won a 5A state championship in Arizona last year, which, if you know anything about Arizona football, that's no pushover. Melbourne will be just fine.
I think so. I think their center transferred in from Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
I think when Day left, I think he left, and he's over there. Matter of fact, his grandma just came in day before yesterday and bought him a pair of cleats from me. He blew his cleats out, I guess, the ones he had, because they're so hard to find. But they're going to do a great job. I mean, you got Cody Black, anchoring that line there. Just put your hand on his rear end and go.
Right.
I mean, they're going to be fine.
They're young
they're
up front. Cody's Cody's got a lot of teaching to do. I don't know that, I don't know what the health of the offensive line is, and I wouldn't tell you if I did. But Cody's got his work cut out for him as a senior leader up on that offensive line. But Melbourne will get it together. I don't know what to expect from Merritt Island tomorrow night. I don't know if Dylan Burke is back, the 6'5" left-handed gunslinger. I do know that I'm still disappointed in the fact that a player like a Dallas Donahue, I didn't think Dallas got the love he deserved during the off. Dallas had.
I think he's hurt right now, isn't he?
He's coming back tomorrow night. 100 catches last year, over 1,000 yards. Come on, Florida today. How's Dallas Donahue not a dandy dozen?
Yeah. No doubt about it. I tell you, the little sleeper wide receiver at Mile High, too, is that Frankie Santiago.
Yes.
That kid will sacrifice his body pound for pound. He don't care. I mean, I've seen him spin in the air completely, getting hit high and low, get up, run back to the huddle. He's a sleeper, and the kid really does. I don't think he has a desire to go to the next level to play football, but he absolutely loves it.
Space Coast at Melbourne Central Catholic. I love this matchup because I think these are two evenly matched teams. It's an opportunity for Coach Brzezinski to pick up his first win. It's an opportunity for Coach Nichols to get his third career win. And listen, I am telling you right now, we talk about dedication to a program. Cliff Nichols to Space Coast is amazing, and Rich Brzezinski, going back to his alma mater, taking over there for a guy that he loves as much as you do in Coach Riazzi.
I remember I was taking care of that program when Rich was playing there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so good about my job. I go back and, Derek Smith, playing at Palm Bay High School. Derek was an all-state catcher, too. A lot of people don't know. He was a wrestler, catcher. He was a stud at Palm Bay High School.
Derek wasn't no athlete. I'm kidding.
And obviously Kevin Mays playing there with him, and, Mike playing, DeGoy playing there with him. But watching those guys grow up, I used to meet Mike's dad in the parking lot. When he went to Florida, he needed a size 18 cleat, and I guess Florida didn't have any at the time. I met him whereas Aldi's is now off Babcock Street, and gave him a pair of slides and a pair of cleats for Mike his first year at Florida. And but his dad and his brother, I think his brother played at West Virginia, I believe, he was a center. That was the only DeGory name was the only center that Burt Clark ever took a snap from.
Wow.
For 4 years.
Wow. Yeah. And I want to say, and all I'll say is our thoughts and prayers are with Coach DeGory. Get better, Coach. You got this. If somebody asked me who the number one team, and again, we don't put our rankings out until after week 4, but if somebody asked me who the best team in Brevard County is heading into week 2, I'm going to tell them Rockledge this week. What Rockledge did to Gulliver Prep last week, who's expected to be a 9-win team, a regional championship contending team in 2M. Rockledge beat them 38-0 and looked good doing it.
Yeah, I watched the broadcast of that game and got to see it. I guess it was didn't it have a delay or lightning delay in it?
Yeah, that was Friday night.
But I thought they had
it got delayed over. Actually,
yeah.
Space Coast Daily had that one on Saturday,
Okay.
and they did. And Stephen Orr will do a terrific job.
I watched that on my phone. Obviously, it's sitting at home because I have no life at home. But anyways, yeah, Rockledge is stout.
Yeah,
they're stout.
They are tough, man.
I'm telling you,
and Tyrone Giscombe on that defense. Another shutout to start the year. You start shutting out teams like Gulliver Prep, you start opening eyes around the not just the region but the state as Gulliver Prep, that team. Remember, Gulliver Prep had Cardinal Gibbons down 28-3 last year in that regional championship. It should have been Cocoa and Gulliver Prep in that state championship, but they could not hold off Cardinal Gibbons. And so Yulee, by the way, Doral Academy is at Rockledge this week. Doral Academy, a good football team.
School,
yeah, not a great one, a good one. And I fully expect Rockledge to be 2-0. In fact, I do expect Rockledge to be undefeated headed into the Barbecue Bowl. I'm just going to put it out there.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I
really do. Yulee is at Titusville. John Holmes and his crew. Josiah Allen with an opportunity to be 2-0. Go get them, coach. And we have two games this week here on Brevard Sports Network. We have Heritage at Palm Bay. So let's talk about that, because I don't know what to make of Heritage at the moment. But I do know that 12-year veteran head coach Mark Ainsley will right whatever's wrong there.
I met Mark when he first got to Holy Trinity. Him and Derek, I don't know if you know that, him and Derek and Kevin were roommates.
Yeah, that I do know.
And so when he got to Holy Trinity, he didn't know who to call for anything. So he called Derek, and Derek said, hey, give Mike a call at Scott Sporting Goods. And me and Mark became best buddies from that point on, and I take care of his program at Heritage. He's one of my favorite people to be around. He doesn't smile a whole lot,
nope.
But I have seen him smile. I've done a couple of his banquets for him. I donate the food and cook it all in my smoker. I did it for 2 years for him. We did it, and then we did a big game when they played Palm Bay. The first time they ever beat Palm Bay, I was out there cooking for all the team. I fed the whole team and everybody. But I like being a part of that and doing that kind of stuff. But Mark's, I consider him one of my really, really good friends. I mean, if he called me up and said, hey, I need a place to stay, I'd tell him where the key's at.
Right.
I mean, he's that kind of guy.
Yeah, no doubt. And, of course, look, right now, if I'm picking this game, I'm going to take Palm Bay going in. I just like what the Pirates are doing at the moment. And I need to see Heritage right the ship here. I don't know if Joseph Tenta's playing tomorrow night. And, again, I wouldn't report if I did or I didn't know. I just can tell you that he didn't play last week. And, Heritage has got some things to clean up. But, again, one of the best coaching staffs in the county, and they should get it done.
Yeah, and taking Ulmer and bringing him from wide receiver to quarterback. I mean, he can quarterback.
Yeah.
Obviously. The kid can run. The kid's faster than a lot of people think he
You
is.
know what his nickname is? White Lightning. That's his nickname.
Well, he reminds me of Burt Clark when he used to run, almost like a wounded duck.
Gotcha.
He's going fast. He's really going fast. And, taking him, because he had a bunch of yards last year receiving, and throwing him out. So now somebody else has got to step up as wide receiver. And it just didn't happen. They dropped a few balls. They had chances to win that game, or at least tie it up there at the end, but just didn't get it done. But I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah,
I really.
I
and
do
I
too.
think whoever wins the Palm Bay Heritage game will be the most disciplined team in that game.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and I'm really going to be lost because Jake Owens is on one sidelines and Mark Ainsley's on the other. Billy Palmer, Rob Query, and Caleb Brown on the call for that one. And last but not least is our feature game of the week, and I see feature game of the week because it is the second annual Adidas Bowl. Should be the fourth, but it is the second. You started this thing, Mike, back in 2019.
Correct. Down
at Vero Beach. I think Caleb's got the graphic up on the screen. There's a trophy involved with this. Tell us the birth of the Adidas Bowl, because that was a great time in 2019.
Well, with Vieira, their football program being an all Adidas program,
right.
Through us, and Vero is the same way through our Vero Beach store. We just thought it'd be a good idea to give the kids a little more incentive for something else to play for, because you're two different counties means nothing, but they're two good teams, and let's play for a little incentive. So we did the Adidas Bowl. We did a nice trophy, and it's a traveling trophy. Whoever wins gets to keep it for the year. It's bragging rights, and they have to bring it back to the next game.
Right.
And we'll present it at the end of the game and all that. But we just thought it was a pretty cool idea. So when Coach Helton got to Satellite, which is all Adidas program in football, I said, hey, would you like to be a part of what we call the Adidas Bowl and play Vieira? He goes, absolutely. He goes, as long as you don't call it the Indian River Rivalry. He goes, that just doesn't sound good to me.
Right.
And I said, no, it's the Adidas Bowl because you both are Adidas programs.
That's good to know.
And so that's where it came about. And he said he would love to do it. And he said they're going to plan on playing Vieira as long as the Vieira will play them, win, lose, or draw.
I want to give a quick shout out here to Mark Hinkle. Mark had his surgery yesterday, the quarterback
Shoulder.
for his shoulder. Yeah, and I was texting with him because we put up the graphic, and I wanted to put him on our schedule graphic, kind of to honor the kid a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's a senior, and so I texted him and said and asked him if he would be okay with that, because a lot of times when you're a senior and you suffer an injury like he suffered, it's a psychological thing too, and because you can be in a bad place, knowing you're not playing the rest of the year. And the kid was in great spirits, and I mean just terrific spirits. So kudos to him. He had his surgery yesterday. It was a success. He won't be playing football this year.
But I think he'll be an asset on the sideline.
There's no doubt about it because of who he is. Vanilla Vic is his nickname. One of the best nicknames I've ever heard for a quarterback, Vanilla Vic. But this game here, look, I like Satellite in this one. I'll make the pick. I don't want to hear this. I'm on the call. I ain't making the pick. I like Satellite in this one. Dylan Vigliotti came in. The sophomore.
He can sling it.
He can throw it. He can run it. He's going to present problems for a young Vieira defense.
Yeah, I think if Vieira can get Gentile to catch some balls and get in the open, I think Vieira will be okay as long as I think the quarterback's a little dinged up, but I think he's still playing.
Yeah, he's good.
And the running backs are good. They returned their whole offensive line.
Yeah.
The defense is the question. But you know what, Coach Minifield, it may take a year, but they're going to be stout.
Yeah.
It's growing pains because, the young kids back there.
I have seen.
They lost the one to, went to Merritt Island. He would have been the returning senior, I believe. Yeah, he went to Merritt Island.
I've seen these kids go all the way to the Pop Warner Super Bowl. These young student athletes go all the way to the Pop Warner Super Bowl. I've seen them have a great deal of success in Suntree Vieira Youth Football. They are the reigning JV County football champs. They beat the snot out of everybody last year.
Right.
So this program will be fine. Hold your head up, Vieira Hawks. It might not be a 5-win season this year, but sometimes you gotta run through the coals to get to the river. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I think they're going to be okay. Again, there's going to be some growing pains, but Shane's all in.
Yeah.
I talk to him every week, and he is all in.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. I think it's great that they hired him. I think it's a perfect fit. I think they're going to be fine. I really believe that. And what they're following, I mean, that stadium's going to be packed tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or, if they could lose 5 in a row, it's still going to be packed. Their followers do not give up on them.
It'll be myself and Logan Pettit on the call with assistance from Jackson Robb tomorrow night. And I tell you, I'm excited because the one thing that has plagued this program, when I say this program, I mean Vieira. The one thing that's plagued Vieira is a lack of discipline over the last couple of years on the field. The penalties have been absolutely ridiculous. But that hasn't happened through 2 games so far. Now, they got, them and O'Galley got a lot of holding calls in that kickoff classic, but some of those were questionable. I love you, Roy Holbeck, but not you can't have 13 holding calls, and even if it's a kickoff classic with 9 of them on wide receivers.
That can't happen.
But no, I cannot.
But a lot of people were questioning the holds in high school.
Yeah.
And it's like taking away the blocking. If you're trying to block, as long as you don't have the guy by the jersey, by the armpit, you're not holding.
No, you're not holding.
You're allowed to drive them back, but I saw the game and I questioned a few of the calls.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the officials do a great job.
They do.
And it's like bang, bang, you got to make that call. It's like baseball. You got to make the call, and what the call has to, is what they think it is.
But Shane told me, he's so proud of the discipline and the poise that his team has shown on the field. And that's one of the things that needed to get corrected, and it appears that it is. And again, so Satellite at Vieira tomorrow night. All right, so let's run down the list here. And by the way, Coco with a bye this week. And listen, their demise also greatly exaggerated, although I wouldn't be shocked if the Tigers were 0-2 after next week. They are going to travel down to play St. Thomas, who put 48 points on the best team in Pennsylvania last week on ESPN. Ryan Schneider, Adam Franco, Matt Diesel, and company have a week to prepare for St. Thomas. But somebody told me St. Thomas may be down. St. Thomas is not down.
No. I remember when my son was a freshman and we went to watch the game. Palme went to St. Thomas. We got on the bus and went up there. And I don't know if you've ever been to St. Thomas Aquinas Field.
We'll be next week.
It's a $1 million field with a $50 amp system, PA system. can't hear anything. It's named after Piccolo, Brian Piccolo.
Brian Piccolo, yeah, former Bear,
But
yeah.
they have a wall outside of the end zone, and over there across the street, you see cars with hoods up, tires missing. So they would make a line when we got off the bus, and we were not allowed to go back to the bus. You had to go in the stadium and stay in the stadium.
Wow.
Because it's not in the greatest location.
Gotcha,
But we went down there, and I forget, the running back was going to Florida, the quarterback was going to Stanford. It was just ridiculous. They beat Palm Bay 56-6 that night. And Stephen Hughes, who's now the offensive coordinator
from
at Mount High,
Melbourne.
was the quarterback.
Right.
And his dad's there, and he's going, let him throw it, coach. Burke don't like to throw
Right.
the ball. And they just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
Get out of there, and they got beat.
Keep that clock
56-0.
running.
Keep that clock running. That's like when Derek Smith went down and played Tampa Jefferson one year, and they were just getting pounded. And they come out in the second half, and the first thing you see is Derek Smith go, wind that clock.
Right,
We
run
wanna
it.
Get out of here.
Run like Tampa Tech a couple of years ago.
Wind it up.
Yeah,
Go.
no
Well,
doubt.
Nobody hurt because they didn't have it that night, and Tampa just beat them to death.
Yep.
It was bad. But anyways, yeah.
Yep. So just one more time down the list tonight, O'Galley at Liberty. Friday Night Lights, Sebastian River at Astronaut, Bayside at Holy Trinity, Marine Christian at Cocoa Beach, Heritage at Palm Bay, Merritt Island at Melbourne, Space Coast at MCC, Doral Academy at Rockledge, Satellite at Vieira in the Adidas Bowl, Yulee at Titusville, and 8-man football tomorrow night as well. Merritt Island Christian travels, and Calvary Chapel is at home tomorrow night. And you're going to see 8-man football this year on Friday nights here on Brevard Sports Network. You're definitely going to see Merritt Island Christian and Calvary Chapel play. A little rivalry in the making there. Mike, I will ask you real quick, college football on tap this weekend. Your Hurricane Southern Miss. Let me ask you what you fans say every year. Is the U back, Mike?
I don't know if they'll be completely back this year, but they aren't going to be no pushover, I don't think, because Cristobal doesn't play. He's disciplined, and he'll get rid of you if you're a problem, if you're a cancer.
I still can't believe he left Oregon.
Well,
he had it going on.
They're telling him any coach you want, anything you need,
Yeah.
get it. And they're talking about building their own stadium now,
Right.
So all that money that went into their indoor training facility. I mean, it's
Cristobal's doing his part. He's bringing the 4 and 5 stars in. I mean, in July,
8th in the recruiting.
yeah.
country.
And listen, in the span of 1 week in July, including Robert Stafford, they had 3 4 stars verbally commit. So Cristobal's doing his job.
We're happy about it. My boys got tickets to the first game. They're going down there. My boys grew up as Hurricane fans because I've been a Hurricane fan forever when they played at the Orange Bowl. We went to several games over there. We were at a Thursday night football game on TV. We were at a Saturday game on TV, but we love and go over and tailgate and hang out, and it's a lot of fun. I like it, but it was a little scary in the Orange Bowl where you had to park in these buildings and you pay guy $20 and you say, "Hey, are you going to be here the whole night?" "Oh yeah." You come back and he's gone.
He's
but your
gone.
car's still there.
But right.
Fortunately.
Yeah, no, I know that. Florida State will take on LSU. We get to see the new Southern version of Brian Kelly at LSU. Still can't believe he tried the accent. And, of course, Mike Norvell enters year number 2. We'll see. I think the jury's out still on Norvell and Florida State.
I'd have to pull the trigger with LSU. I just think their defense year in and year out gets nasty.
Yeah.
If they can keep them from scoring a lot of points and then LSU can score a few points, I think they'll beat Florida State.
The Gators are, in my opinion, in line for a loss. That's not meaning that they're going to have a bad season. They're just hosting a very good football team in Utah. Billy Napier will get this program back into SEC East title contention and SEC college football playoff. I believe Napier's the right guy for the job, but this is an 8-4 season.
Yeah. Well, I think Utah's coming in preseason ranked 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
I believe it is, and I don't know if Florida's even ranked. If they are, that's
No,
down in
no.
the bottom down there. But it's you can't count Florida out.
No.
Especially when you play at Florida. When you're at the Swamp, it's a whole different world. We went over, took my boys over. Dr. Perkins in Vero he's one of the original graduates from there, had season tickets, parking pass, motel, and he gave it to me and my boys one weekend, and we went and watched when Tebow was there, and they just beat Miami to death. But I made my boys wear a Florida hat and a Florida shirt. They hate me to this day for that.
UCF plays tonight. They are a 37.5-point favorite against South Carolina State. If you want to know more about that game, right below this post is Trace Trilco and myself previewing. And we'll do that every week here on Brevard Sports Network. I'm excited about that. And tonight, coming up on Brevard Sports Network, I believe Caleb's going to put the graphic up now. It is we kick off our JV football season, and we do so with the same varsity game. We thought this was a neat combination to do. So tonight we'll be doing Satellite and Vieira. We get to see Sean Hartman at quarterback tonight. Excited about that. So JV football, 6 o'clock tonight. Satellite and Vieira here on Brevard Sports Network. And Mike, final thoughts, buddy?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to go. I hadn't been able to get around much the last 6 weeks. I had my spine fused as I'm wearing this big giant brace around me. So I really can't go to a football game and stand for a few hours or sit down for a few hours. It's just a little tough. But
we'll get to see you and get to taste some of your delicious food in a couple of weeks. Tell us why.
We're gonna do a tailgate at Vieira High School when Baker County comes in. Coach Mays comes in. He's actually spending the night. He got permission from his school to stay over because Vieira's having casino night the next night. So he's going to visit his family.
He's an alum. And he's an alum of the program.
Right. He's going to visit his family and hang out with everybody, and he'll drive back to Baker County the next day after the Sunday. I think he's going back. But I talked to him the other day. He called me. But anyways, I'm going to bring my big trailer smoker up there. We're going to cook up some barbecue and some chicken and feed all the coaches and the booster club and players whatever they want. And I'll be up there all day cooking food.
No doubt. And again, looking forward to that. And again, the 2 games here on BSN tomorrow night, Heritage at Palm Bay and Satellite at Vieira in the Adidas Bowl. I want to thank Caleb Brown. Caleb, if you would, just kind of pan around and show Ubrzati, because I couldn't be more thankful of my partnership.
Nice.
It's unbelievable.
It's really
I've never heard it this quiet before. I'm kind of spooked.
Well, I think everybody's on the other side.
Yeah, right.
Also, I want to give out a shout-out to one of my best friends, kid who plays at Palm Bay High School, number 76, Hayden Smith.
Okay.
He's a sophomore, 6'6", 300 pounds. And he was a freshman last year, and the kid's going to be fun to watch. I forget what they call him. They have a nickname for him, too. Palm Bay's always good about coming up with nicknames. You always have somebody named either Kentucky or Alabama or Tennessee, or I forget what they call him, but it's like Man.
Right.
That line's huge, but he's their right guard, I believe it is. And he's doing a great job. Never played football in his life until last year.
Yeah, that's a bold thing for a high school student to do. There is no doubt about that. So, once again, it looks like we're nope. Caleb just did a good job moving that camera. Okay, good job, Caleb. All right, so I want to thank Caleb and all the great staff here at Ubrzati. So we'll be coming to you live every week at this time, right here from Ubrzati to preview and recap the weekend high school football. So for Caleb Brown, for Mike Moffitt of Scott Sporting Goods, I'm Alan Slaughter-Zinski. This has been the Brevard Sports Network. Have a great day, everybody. And you know what? You can even make it a sports day. We'll see you soon.